For all the budding bassists picking up their very first instrument this year, I wanted to share with you the difference between a precision bass and a jazz bass and figure out which one is right for you. Within the bass player community, this is a story as old as time, but I'm going to get you up to speed in 4 minutes. Both basses are built almost exactly the same. However, each model boasts its own specific advantage. For the sake of full transparency, Glary has provided the basses used in this video. However, as always, my opinions remain my own. Starting with the body, precision basses have a slab-like body, which is somewhat comfortable to play. It's a good place to start. The jazz bass, by comparison, has an offset body. It hangs off a little more on the lower edge, and has a slight difference in terms of shaping, as it's more ergonomic and hugs your body better. It also balances a bit better when playing upright. Next up, the neck types are the second most important difference. Both are typically the same scale length from nut to bridge. However, the thickness on the precision is larger than a jazz bass. Precisions have what's called a chunky neck. There's a lot more wood to hold on to. Jazz basses, by comparison, have thinner, slimmer necks, and are more agile in terms of playability. There is also a benefit for aspiring bassists who had previously played the guitar. The slimmer jazz bass profile neck may be more comfortable when you're starting out. The size of precision necks is not inherently a bad thing, it's just different. It is, however, really important to state how the neck makes you play the instrument. Whilst incredibly difficult to put into words, the feedback that you get from these necks dictates to how you respond to the instrument and how you play it. Ultimately, it all comes down to feel, which is a little bit wishy-washy, but unfortunately it's really true. The Glary jazz bass does something a little bit different by putting a precision-shaped neck onto a jazz body. It totally changes the way you would normally play a jazz bass, which could be interesting to some. The pickup arrangements between these two basses will be the biggest difference, sonically speaking. The Precision has a split coil pickup, also known as a humbucker. Its biggest advantage is that it can alleviate electrical interference in your signal and stop it from humming. It bucks the hum. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but this is the easiest way to understand how it works and why it sounds the way it does. The location of the pickup being right in the middle of the body is that you get a much more warmer sound as a result. Other ways to describe it would be grindy, plunky, or wooden. It's a typical rock and roll sound you have no doubt heard hundreds or thousands of times in your life. Jazz basses, on the other hand, have single coils. Each pickup works independently from the other and is usually controlled by its own volume knob. Using one pickup on its own is likely to pick up some electrical interference, but turning both pickups up to a similar level should reduce noise, like you'd find in a precision bass. Due to the designs of these pickups and their physical location on the bass, they have their own unique sound. Bridge pickups are punchy, thin and honky sounding, whilst the neck pickup provides a bit more warmth, like you'd find in a precision. The jazz bass sound has typically been associated with a warm, punchy, growly sound, or a burpy sound that's a bit more abrupt. And I know what you're thinking, Alfie, this is great and everything, you're very entertaining, but which one is the best? Well, really, it's impossible to say which one is the best. You just can't frame the question that way. Both of these basses are tools, and they each do specific tonal jobs. It's a lot like Coke or Pepsi. Everybody has their own preference. I myself am a Pepsi person. After all this, if you're still not sure which bass is right for you, take a look at the bassists you do like. What basses are they playing? That's a good place to start. Then you need to go out and physically try the bass. I can't state how important that is. You can't just listen to me, you need to go out and try the bass yourself. How does it feel in your hands, or on your body, or when you stand up and play? And more importantly, how does it sound? How does it sound to you? Do you like that sound? For beginners, if you just want my subjective opinion, I would at least recommend you go and try a jazz bass, as they are a lot more comfortable and offer a little bit more musical versatility than you'd get in a precision. And as I mentioned earlier, the neck profile is a lot more comfortable to play. But hey, that's just my subjective opinion. I still recommend you try both basses and see for yourself. If you speak to any seasoned bassist, they will be quick to point out they own both a precision and a jazz bass in their collection. So ultimately, when it comes down to it, both basses are the acceptable choice. If you're a parent looking for your child's very first bass, or you yourself are a budding bassist to be, can I suggest you give the sponsor of this video, Glary, a look at. Their basses are no thrills models, and for around about $100, £85 or €95, you will be hard pressed to find a more functional bass for that price. Moreover, if you've been playing for a few years and you still find yourself lacking a precision or a jazz in your collection, the Glary bass provides a suitable option in a pinch, or a great foundation for your own DIY project. If you've seen any of my previous review videos, you know I'm not the biggest fan of precision basses, but I must admit, I quite like this one, and I think I'm going to be keeping it. Links to Glary and all their basses are in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.